My name is Denise Evans, and I'm the Safe Passage Coordinator at Taylorville Police Department.
I'm Ryan Burke, and I'm from Taylorville.
Safe Passage was set out to help any addicts or alcoholics in the area from where the office is set. The offices are always in a city police department, and the addict or alcoholic can just walk into the police department at any time and tell the dispatcher that they need help for their addiction. And when they come into Taylorville Police Department, I will help them get into rehab, detox, or whatever they may need.
Do you feel that the program is successful in doing that and getting people help that need it?
The program's very successful. I started in 2019 in Kincaid, Illinois, at the police department there, and over there we sent over 100 people to rehab. And in Taylorville, I have been there since July of 2019, and I've sent 63 people.
Okay, so Ryan, what do you think about just the overall Safe Passage program? Somebody asked you that. Is that any good?
It's one of the best programs out there. It really helped me out a lot. And just not just the program, the people that's involved in it from beginning, even after it's over with. They're always messaging you, talking to you and stuff like that. You ever need anything, it don't matter what time of day, just send them a message or call them. And they're still there.
So you feel like they really care?
Yes, they do.
They're not just checking a box?
Nope.
What do you think was like the most impactful thing of the program?
It's the commitment that Denise has, their drivers. It's
seeing people put it into action instead of just words. Right?
Exactly, and following through with it, because that's something a lot of addicts ain't used to. Is somebody will say one thing and turn around and do something else. But and then they get into situations where it's kind of a little leery for them with some of the addicts. But yet they're still there doing their job.
Looking back, do you wish you would have maybe came in sooner? Did you find out about it then come right in, or did you know about it for a while?
I knew about it for a while, and I really can't say that I would have come in sooner, because then I probably still would be it might have been made me a different person to waiting out, because when it's time, it's time. Not only do you got to have the will, but you got to have the motivation, and Safe Passage gives you a lot of motivation. I mean, to be truthfully honest.
Is that, you feel like that's part of the program, is you guys just try to make them feel like, there's a lot of people around them that really do care.
That care for them?
Genuine, so.
Yes, yes. I always try, to make them feel comfortable, and hopefully they trust me by the time we're finished with the beginning process. When they walk into the police department, that is the very first step for them. Some of them have dwelled on it for quite some time, trying to decide, do I want to go, do I not want to go? And then for them to just walk into a police department and trust me enough to, do what I tell them I'm going to do, and they're not going to be arrested. They're not going to be judged from here on in. When I get them help, when they go to rehab, they're not going to be judged by any of the counselors or the nurses, doctors there. We're just here to help them. And hopefully I gain their trust. I think I do pretty much. Also, I can introduce them to Chief Wheeler from Taylorville if they like that. He is very into this program. He's the one that got it started in Kincaid. And he will talk to them, visit with them if they want to before they go off to rehab. A lot of times after they are released, they will even come back and visit us and let us know how they're doing. So that really, is good, I think. I keep in contact with them. We text back and forth, call back and forth.
So what was that like for you personally? Was it kind of a little nerve-wracking?
It was a lot nerve-wracking because when you go out there, when you go in there, you're not in your right mind. To be honest with you, you're messed up. You're hopeless. You're scared. I mean, it's a dangerous addiction, and it's with the right people to help you. It's great. Honestly, your mindset when you go in. You don't know what to expect, and a lot of times, a lot of people are doing it just to get out of going to jail. So they're not doing it to really quit. But it gets them the help, and then once they get when Safe Passage gets them into a rehab, they realize that there's more to life out there than drugs and alcohol. There's friends, family that ain't blood related that you meet in the rehab centers, Safe Passage people, the drivers, just the willingness to be there and help you through it, even in your most darkest times.
You have a family?
Yes, I do.
So what do they think about the progress that you've made and the decision that you made to go in?
Some of them are very happy. A lot of them I still do not talk to this day because of the addiction. It's cost me a lot of the family. It cost me my kids for the longest time. It's hard to talk about, but it's something that needs to be addressed, and I've been addressing it. It's trying to mend bridges that's been burnt over the years from the stupidity and the drugs.
And you feel that, moving on in the future, you're just going to do everything you can to stay on the path and time heals and maybe people start coming around?
I'm hoping so. A lot of them I've reached out to. Actually almost every day I talk to most of them, but like I said, there's still a lot of them that won't even speak to me, and I don't blame them. It's nobody's fault but my own, and I'm not blaming it on the drugs, but I was a person that made the choice to do it. Wasn't nobody forcing me to, it was myself.
So what kind of support is available after they go through the program, Denise?
After they go through the program, okay, when I am interviewing them in the beginning, when they come in to see me, and I get them set up in a facility, and before they leave, I always give them my business card and tell them to keep in touch. I call them while they are in rehab also to check up on them. I try to get them to call me when they know that they are going to be released. So therefore, I can set them up with different counseling, group therapy sessions. Here in Taylorville, we have therapy groups almost every night of the week, whether it be at the police department, in the municipal building basement, a meeting room, or in churches. We're trying to get a few more started in town here for people to go to, but there are a lot of places that they can go and they can reach out to after they get finished with the program.
It's not like you just go through and then you
It's not like you go through it and no. I offer different phone numbers from different volunteers that have told me that they'll help, to sponsor, not so much sponsor them, but just to be there. In addiction, you're kind of sort of, I would say, off balance from day to day sometimes. If something goes bad, then you're going to feel bad, and that might trigger you to maybe relapse. So when you feel like that, or you have a down day, you might want to call this person and just talk to them. So there's always people that they can call, just to talk to.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of things have you heard from the families after their
From the
loved ones have been
families?
through? Yeah, I mean, have you got any good feedback feedback, like saying that, you know, they're a completely different person now?
Yes.
This is amazing.
Yes. I have quite a bit of feedback. I have text, emails, phone calls, a lot from the family and from the client that goes to rehab, about how thankful they are that they've got to start their new life back. They've got their family back. They may have their job. Most all of them, when they come to see me at the beginning, they've hit pretty much rock bottom. They've lost their job, they've lost their family ties, they've lost their kids. Some have no car, vehicle to get around. They're bouncing from house to house with their duffel bag, you know, that's all they have left. So when they, after they are out of rehab and they are clean, they can usually go back and try to get visitation or try to get their kids back. Their families finally realize that they're really trying, and so that brings the family ties back. And at my meetings on Tuesday nights at 6 o'clock, it's open meetings. So family is always invited to come, friends, just so they can learn, because it's a learning process for them also. I mean, they don't understand why their person couldn't quit before on their own, but it's just such a bad disease that you can't quit.
And you find that, like, a lot of these family members and stuff, they still love this person.
Oh yeah, they still love them. They just do not understand. I find that every day. There's always someone that, like family member or friend, they do not understand. Sometimes the client will bring that family member or a friend along with them, and they'll be sitting there, and the client will say, I know I have to quit. I know I need to quit. I've lost everything. And then that person sitting there next to them will say, then why don't you quit? Why, you know this, why don't you do this? And I have to stop them because the client's getting agitated, and, we don't want that. And, I try to explain to them that this addiction is a disease. It's not something that they want to do. It's not choice. Yes, it was choice the first time they tried it maybe, but, after some different drugs, after you use a couple times, you're addicted. They're that potent. And the people just do not understand. So I just wish that there was more places and more different facilities that the family could attend and learn. They just need to learn more about addiction. Everyone does.
Ryan, can you talk a little bit about that, like how you felt maybe when you were telling yourself, I don't want to do this anymore, but you just almost couldn't help yourself, like you always went back to the drug. Can you talk about that a little bit?
It seemed like a lot of times didn't even think about it. It's so used to it with emotional problems, death in the family or close friends dying. It's so used to, that's how a lot of us, that's how we deal with stuff. Because that's the only way we know. We've been doing it for so long. Sometimes it's without even thinking of it, or sitting there, and next thing you know, we got a glass pipe, or or snorting it. It ain't that we don't want to quit. It's just a lot of times we don't know how. At times, that's how we felt normal. It's how we knew how to deal with it. That we actually thought we was dealing with it, when all reality we wasn't. Because when you sober up, it hits you all over again. It's
more like escaping it.
Yes.
For the moment, instead of actually confronting it and dealing with
Yes.
it, even though it felt like you were.
It's like hiding yourself in a closet thinking the monster's going to go away. It ain't. And that's what the disease of addiction is. It's one great big old monster that it'll wreak havoc on your whole life. Even after you're clean and sober, it's still, you got to deal with the repercussions of it.
If there's somebody out there that's where you were, they haven't braved that walk into the police station yet, and they're nervous about it, and what would you say to them?
Do it. And it don't matter if you have drugs on you or not. When you go, take them in there. You won't get charged. They'll got your best interest, and they want that stuff off the streets because it's killing too many people. It'll be the best move you ever make. Not only for yourself, for your family, your friends. It's one of the best things I ever done in my life, and I've done a lot of good things in my life, but that I'm gonna rate up there, probably the best thing I've ever done, and I'll put that over having my kids. Because if it wasn't for them, I'd never have my kids. Because I'd be honest with you, I'd probably be dead right now.
So Ryan, when you went into the police station, what kind of questions did they ask you? Were they more concerned about you?
Yes, they was more concerned about what I was using, how often I used, when was the last time I used. They never asked who I was getting it from, how much I was getting, what it's costing, nothing. The only thing they was worried about was getting me the right treatment that I needed. Not worried about sending this person to jail, who's your dealer, so we can go raid their house. They don't ask nothing. Like I said, the only thing they're concerned about is you.
You want to talk a little bit about that? So your guys' focus is the individual, right? I mean, you're not trying to, rather than walk in, you're not.
Oh,
spill
no.
Beans,
No,
right?
no. When a client walks into my office, the first thing I ask them usually is, so what's up with you? What's going on with you today? And they'll be a little cautious about how they answer that. Well, I'm, having a hard time. I need help. And so I said, well, why do you need help? What is going on? And if I notice that they're still a little bit iffy about answering the question, I'll ask them if they know anything about safe passage. Some said, well, I've heard about it. My friend went, but I really don't know what's going on, what I'm in for. And I'm a little bit nervous walking into a police department. So I explained to them what safe passage is, and safe passage means just what it says. It's a safe pass. So I tell them, as long as they stick with me and stick with the program, follow the program and do what they're supposed to, what the counselors have suggested, then they're going to be safe. And they're going to have a better life. And I explained to them that they made the first step by just walking in here and asking me. And I'll ask them, I say, was that hard for you to do? And they say, yes. They've thought about it for a couple days and stewed about it, and they finally decided they had to because they had nothing left. They were out on the street or, living with friends or whatever. So then I explained to them that we're just going to talk a little bit about them. I don't care where you got your stuff. I don't care when the last time you used, how much you used, anything. I just need the truth. And I tell them from here on in, I just need the truth of everything. I said, you're going to be ask a lot of personal questions, and that's the only way we can help you. And when you go into the facility, that's the only way that they can help you. If you need different medicine, you have to tell them the truth. So they're like, okay. And I also tell them that you are not going to be judged. There's no one going to be judging you from here on in. And a lot of times they will say, well, that's why I didn't want to come in, because people look at me funny. When I'm walking down the street, they know, that I'm an addict, or they talk about me. And that's a lot of the paranoia coming in from the drugs. So I tell them, well, from here on in, you're fine. You're safe. Just work with me, So I'll ask them, question is their address, name, address, whatever like that. And then we get on down into the part of their use. And I ask them what their drug choice is. And they tell me. How much do you usually use? When was the last time you used? Do you do this on a daily basis, or and then is that the only drug you use? Or what about heroin? What about prescription drugs? And 9 times out of 10, there's a lot of prescription drugs that's involved in this. Sometimes that's how people get started. They may have been in the hospital or had a surgery or something, and they were given prescription drugs.
Norco.
Yeah, Vicodin, amitriptyline, whatever. So they get hooked on that. Some doctors might cut them off, some keep giving it to them for a while. Then the client, if they still need it, they're going to go to a different doctor in a different town and get it. Then their friends come along and say, well, I've got something here that's going to help you. You won't have to worry about getting that prescription drug. I've got something here, so I might give them meth or something. Well, a couple times on meth, and they're hooked. So then they, it's like they didn't ask to be an addict. No one asked to be an addict. No one wants to live that life. But like I said, after, no matter what your circumstances are, you're either getting it from a doctor to start you, or maybe some traumatic thing has happened in your life that you just can't handle and you don't talk about it. So, you start with drugs, and then you're hooked.
What is the scope of the drugs that you've seen? I mean, have you seen heroin? Have you seen meth? Is that prevalent around here?
Around here, I think the number one would be that comes in my office is meth. Have some heroin, a lot of prescription drugs.
Okay. Denise, would you say you guys need more help with this program, and if so, in what areas?
Yes, it is just growing like crazy. When I was the coordinator in Kincaid with Chief Wheeler, when he was chief there, we could handle it. It was busy, but we could handle it. Since I've been here since July 1st in Taylorville, I just can't believe. Every single day I have people calling me. Weekends, I have people calling me asking if they can come in on Monday, which is fine. It's 24/7. That's fine. That's no problem. But it's just growing, and it's just more and more every day. So I have to have drivers to drive the client to the facilities. So I'm always looking for more drivers. I'm wanting to form a committee to help in different ways, because Safe Passage is only funded by donations and grants. We have been here since, like I said, July 1st, so our grants haven't come through yet. So right now we're depending on donations from private citizens or businesses, whatever. So we're always looking for that. We will go to any church, organization, anything like that, and speak to get the word out. That's what we need to do, is get the word out to the public to let them understand that the addict can come into the police department for help at any time.
What kind of requirements is there for drivers? I mean, is it just somebody that's willing, has a car?
For drivers, they would have to have their own vehicle, a driver's license, and carry insurance, full coverage insurance. Then I will sit down with them and explain to them that it's a volunteer, although we do give a Casey's gift card for gas each time they drive. They can use that for gas or refreshments, whatever. The other requirements is they just have to sign a waiver saying that the police department is not responsible for anything that would happen to their car.
Sure.
And I train them. They won't just take off the first time and take a client. They'll ride with someone that has driven before until they're, ready to go on their own.
One thing I wanted to touch on, and you just made me think of it. Have you heard some stories like from drivers like in that first drive? I mean, that's got to be emotional for some of these people, right? Because they finally made that move.
Right.
They're driving to this place. Like, I mean, I'm sure they talk.
Yeah. Sometimes the client will talk, and it just depends. A lot of times the client will be starting to go through withdrawals from not using for a few days. So usually the first couple days they are tired. So sometimes the driver will tell me, well, they slept all the way up there, so it was no problem. And then sometimes I'll get feedback to where the client maybe have talked the whole time. The drivers know that everything's confidential, so, and they don't ask. I tell them, you don't ask any questions. Everyone's on first name basis, so when they get in the car, if they want to tell them their last name, whatever, that's up to them. I guess sometimes the clients will just talk and talk and talk and tell their whole life story. That's fine. But no, they usually, the feedback I get is everything went fine. The client was fine, polite. I've never had anything bad happen. Never had any problems with any clients driving them up there, because by the time I interview them and everything, I think they have come to the conclusion that they are safe with us. Like I said, we're not going to judge them. They're not going to be in trouble. Nothing. So, they're just content that they're finally getting help.
Right. Do you remember that drive, Ryan?
I remember the drive, I remember the intake. The intake was pretty rough, and that's why I said once they make a commitment, they stick through. I ended up, when I went in to meet with Denise, there was a warrant for my arrest. They took me to jail. She actually come over to the jail, got me into rehab and out the same day into the rehab, and then got me the help that I needed. The ride up there, just because I knew the guy that took me up there. I've known him almost my whole life, but we talked a little bit. A lot of time I was quiet because I was starting to come down. But I mean, it was rough. I guess I could say I was a little agitated when they put the handcuffs on me, but I knew it was for the best, so
But Denise kept her word.
Yeah.
And you got into rehab.
Yep.
And you got your help. You weren't shoved in a cell and
Exactly.
left.
Yeah.
Exactly. I got all the help I needed, and which I was kind of glad, because some people got to see a side of me they never got to see before. What a mess I was. And I'm talking correctional officer there at the county jail that's known me for years. Never knew I was on the stuff. I hid it for many, many years. Many years. When I traveled across the United States, it was that. Cocaine and meth, is crack. It just wasn't just one drug. Because you get to the point where one drug wouldn't get you high anymore, so you'd have to switch to something else, or yeah, exactly. And it's I ain't gonna say, how to word it right. I'm ashamed of myself. I regret a lot of it, but I don't regret what I've learned during the disease, this addiction, this disease. Because now, thanks to Safe Passage, Gateway, I'm actually going to start taking classes to become a drug addiction counselor. I know exactly what the person has gone through, their way of thinking, because I've been there myself. Because a lot of times people will say something, they're going to do something, and then not do it. So these people that are addicted to these drugs, they don't trust very well, very easily.
And they probably think, how would you know?
Exactly.
You've never done it.
It's like when I went in to talk to Denise, she made me feel really right at home. Um, Even though I knew I was going to jail, she'd come in when I was in the jail, she'd come over and talk to me. I actually felt safe and comfortable with her. And for me, that's hard to do with my depression and my anxiety. And that's a lot of it. That's another thing why I was using drugs, was to help cope with that. And it's when you actually find someone that's genuinely concerned, it's kind of like a shock. And you don't know how to take it at first. But then after a while, like when they got me into Gateway, the counselors there was just like Denise. They had your health and your, I'm gonna say, sanity in their best interest.
That's what they cared about.
Yeah. They didn't care you was addicted. They didn't judge you. Most of them's been through it themselves, or they've dealt with a family member that's gone through it, and so they kind of know in a way what you're going through. And I can't say it enough. If you don't go through safe passage, you're done. Not really done, but you're missing out on a better life. I ain't gonna lie. Like I said earlier, if it wasn't for them, I'd either be in prison, or most likely I'd be dead. Because I was getting to the point where I was using so much. And that's the first time I've actually openly said it, that it was at a dangerous level. Very dangerous level.
Do you feel like at points that you didn't know if you're going to wake up?
I didn't know if my heart was going to explode or not.
Right.
And to be honest, I'm really surprised it didn't the day I go into safe passage. Because I was on a mission to end everything, to be honest. And the only thing that kept me, I think, was thinking of my kids. That's the only thing that kept me around. And even at times, that was hard. Because once it gets a hold of you, it messes your mind up. You think you're thinking straight, but you're not. It's bad. It's an epidemic in this country right now.
Where can people go to find out more about this? Is there a website?
They can go to Taylorville Police Department and click on Safe Passage. We have information there. And also on Facebook, I have a Facebook page. It's called Safe Passage of Taylorville. We put everything on there that we do. Clients that we send, although there's no names mentioned, of course, because everything's confidential. But yes, they can come. They can go to meetings. They can call the police department at any time and ask for myself or Chief Wheeler, and we will be happy to sit down and talk to them and explain everything to them. I just know that the first time I met Ryan, like he said, he had to go to jail, and that shocked me. He called me, texted me, I think, and wanted to come in and get help, so I had him come in. And as soon as I got in there, I found out he had a warrant. The warrant stops everything right there. We have to take care of that first before they go to Safe Passage. And usually I can get that squashed. So the procedure is they have to go turn themselves into the county, which that's what I had to go in and tell him, that he's going to have to go to county to, so he was kind of agitated and upset about that. But I promised him just to go over there, turn yourself in, and then I would call the probation and call the courts and everything and get it taken care of. So it took, that same day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think I was out there by 1 o'clock, wasn't it?
Yeah, that same day, I called the probation office and had them call the court. So I went over they took you over to the court. You got the warrant squashed because you were going to go back with me, and I was going to send you to Safe Passage. So I went over to the Christian County Jail and sat there and talked to him and got him into Gateway. And
Was and I don't need to know exactly what it was, but was the warrant drug related, or does it even matter? Like if somebody
it doesn't matter what it's for.
Matter?
It does not matter what it's for. Sometimes it could be, well, yesterday I had someone that was, he missed his drug court meeting. Mm-hmm. So when you're on drug court, then they put a warrant out for you. So he called me and was upset because he knew there was a warrant and he knew what he had to do, but he wanted to go back to rehab. So I talked him into going to probation to talk to his probation officer. And I said, then she's going to have to call county. They're going to have to come and get you. And he goes, so I have to go to jail? I said, just for a little while. I said, I'll get you out after, we go through the court system and before the judge. So he did that. And so then he went yesterday to rehab. But and promised me that we'd never have to do this again. So hopefully, it will work. And when, they relapse, I still don't say, why? Why did you do this? That's terrible. You can't be like that. You have, in a sense, everyone relapses, not just with drugs. They relapse on diets. They relapse on everything.
Human nature.
But exactly, but you don't think about it. They don't think about it like that,
Right.
So they relapse, okay, then we're going to start all over again.
I mean, it's a sad thing to say, but when you're trying to recover, every addict has at least one relapse. Mm-hmm. Yes. It's a proven fact. It ain't that they're wanting to use, it's just to revert back to old habits, what they knew. And normally it's within the first 3 to 4 months, normally. Sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's 2 years.
Especially when it just starts to feel hard.
Yes.
And
start feeling hard again.
any little trigger might trigger, you might get upset about something and get down. So what do? It's just like food.
Right.
Just like I said, like food, like
emotionally
diet. Yes, yes, you
Yeah.
get upset, so you go eat,
You drive somewhere, you smell something.
Right.
Then it
Yeah.
triggers you. I still have triggers to this day,
Yeah.
but I don't feed into them.
You just have to be strong, and that's why we have
Reach out for help.
reach out, call somebody, talk to someone.
Those are the support systems.
Yes.
For Safe Passage.
Yes.
And to be honest, there is actually a great support system around this town, this county. Just not here, even these little bitty towns. You got people that hang out together
Right.
just to stay sober. I mean, it's,
You're not going to be on your own.
no, you're not.
on your own.
You're only going to be on your own if you make it that way,
Right.
if you force the issue.
There's people here that want to
Yes, and not only that, this county's got one of the best judges that is out to help addicts clean their lives up.
Judge Brad Paisley is who started the Safe Passage program in Christian County. And he is great. I actually went to drug court, what day? Wednesday, for the first time. And I was just amazed. The way he talks to the clients, and, he's sympathetic when he has to be, and he's hard when he has to be. It just depends. But that was a great experience.
So what would you say to a police department out there that has heard about Safe Passage and the effects that it's had on Taylorville?
Mm-hmm. I would like to stress to all the police departments, not only in the area but all over Illinois, if you've heard about Safe Passage, if you haven't heard about Safe Passage, please contact us at Taylorville Police Department, because this program works. I mean, it's a proven fact that it works. We've helped so many people in such a short time, and all you have to do is call the Taylorville Police Department. I would be happy to come and visit with you at your city. We have spoken to the city council at the city council meetings, and spoke to the mayor, spoke to the police chief to get this started in the area. And I would be happy to follow up until you find a coordinator or whatever. Since July 1st, I've gone to Edinburgh, Pana, Nokomis, and they're all doing great with this program. Chief just recently went to Mattoon and got it started down there. So I just stress for everyone, because drugs are everywhere. You know, I know some people might think, oh, I have no drugs in my town, but yes, you do. You know, they're everywhere, and everyone needs help.